that we get to them all. Alrighty, so welcome. So today we are going to be talking about a topic that has, obviously we read a lot about AI and different tools and systems, and you guys, sometimes it's really overwhelming because there are so many systems and so many tools, and we can sit and invest time and money, both very valuable things, into all of them, or we can really try to learn as much as we can about them and figure out what's best for our business. So one thing I've read a lot about, I love online courses, teaching them, learning from them, and what I've kind of learned over the past really year of really diving into online courses and training is when you take a training, you're not necessarily taking the time or paying for with your time or money, whatever it is, for the information itself. What you're really looking for is organization of that information. And what I mean by that is there is so much information out there. So our goal today is to give you tools and technology that some of us actually use and teach it to you high level, right? Because we can't dive into every tool and system in 1 hour, but give you a little bit of an overview of how we use it in our business. And then you can make an educated decision if that's something you want to implement in your business or not, depending on what you need in your business. So we've got Monty today, who's going to be talking about some of the stuff he does in his business. Monty's really diving into AI and using it in a really cool way. We've got Dave, who's also going to be sharing some stuff as well, who's really been taking advantage of some of the lofty AI too, along with Monty. And then I'm going to share some of the systems and tools that I use in my business. And here's the thing, you can't do it all. And I don't want you to walk away from this and go ahead and download all of these things, right? Most of them are free, and a lot of them you have access to already. But what I want you to do is to pick one thing that you can really dive into and learn from, because if you try to do it all at once, it's going to get overwhelming and you're going to get frustrated and not take the time. So I really always encourage learning a system in and out, and sometimes when you do that, you figure out the system sucks and you do not want that in your business. And I always say the system that works is the system that works for you. There's no correct way to do things. We all do things so differently, but I love to learn how other people do things, because even some tiny little tweak about how they use a similar system can make you go, oh my gosh, I feel so silly that I have not done that before, right? And it's just because your mind wasn't there, you weren't thinking about it. So I hope everyone walks away today with at least one thing that they're like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn about that. And we really try to keep it to the least expensive things as possible. Obviously, every tool that has a free option also has a paid version. And I'm going to talk mainly about the systems that I'm using, the free versions. And then if you max those out, then I would look into getting the paid version if you're like loving it and using it all the time. So we're going to dive on in today into some different systems that we use. So we're going to talk about some systems that are going to save you time, will help you with documentation and with delegation. So if any of you were in Scale Up with me, we talked a lot about delegation, and that's because it's a really, really important piece when it comes to running your business. And no joke, you guys, sometimes I just sit and think about where bottlenecks are in my business so I can figure out a way to delegate it with tools that I already have. Our business is never perfect. It's never exactly where we want it. There's always like a couple more things we want to do. But where I really try to focus is on the small stuff, the small like annoyances. And an example of that would be, maybe there's this thing that I have to do once a week where I have to go into the system and enter some dates. And it's like annoying, right? But it's simple. And a lot of people will go, well, it only takes me 10 minutes to do that. And if I train someone to do it, they're just going to do it wrong. And when I say train someone to do it, right, try to utilize a tool you already have, and you've got different people in our businesses already. Maybe you've got someone for marketing. Maybe you've got someone for transaction coordination. Maybe you've got somebody who does your bookkeeping or a CPA. We've got help, and we probably don't even realize it sometimes. But I always try to remember, if it's taking me 10 minutes and I hate doing it, the key is if I hate doing it, I'm going to avoid doing it meaning it's probably like the last thing I do on that Monday once a week that I have to do. And it stresses me out and annoys me, right? But it's so simple. But if I can get that off my plate, now times that by 10, now you're at 100 minutes. Times that by 10, you're at 1,000 minutes. What could you be doing with that extra time? And you really, when it comes to systems like this, kind of have to look at it that way, because anytime you're making excuses of like, well, it only takes me 10 minutes, but I hate doing it, trying to avoid stuff that we hate or stuff that we don't do a very good job at is really, really important if we want to get our businesses where we want them to go, okay? So some of the ways that you can use some of these systems in your business are in lead generation. We're going to talk a little bit about ChatGPT today and how it can help you with lead generation and lead follow-up, right? Now think about when you have a buyer consult, what do you say on the initial phone call? What do you do? What do you send before the meeting? What do you send after the meeting, right? Some of these things, these are all parts of a system in your business. Who here, you can use the emoji hand, who here has a system for what they send before and after a buyer consult meeting? Okay, I know there's hands, people. Everyone's trying to figure out how to use the little hand. Okay, cool. Easy area of opportunity. I call this low-hanging fruit, right? So that's an example of a system in your business. Because every time you have to try to reinvent the wheel and remember, gosh, what did I send last time I had a buyer consult? Or what did I send beforehand last time? That's just wasted time, you guys. Not only is it wasting your time and your brain power, it also is so nice when you have a documented system. It makes sure that every one of your clients has the exact same experience, that blown away, exceeded expectations experience every single time. It helps you, it helps them. Post-closing checklist is a great example, one that I heavily use in my business, and I highly encourage you to do as well, making sure you have a post-closing checklist in your business as well. Who in their little emoji hands has a post-closing checklist for your clients? All right, I see a few little guys. Okay. Here's the thing, low-hanging fruit. These are easy places for us to start. Now, if anyone needs any of these, not AI version, but you just want like a document, we do have checklists for all of these things. There's probably, someone's trying to figure out the little hand, and maybe that's what it is. It's just figuring out how to make it work. If you ask me, I honestly don't know if I know how to do it either. Oh, it's in the React section. It has like a little heart on it. But we have so many different tools here. Sometimes it's hard to talk about them all because there are so many. If there is ever a checklist that you need, please email me, because I probably have it from Kickoff Coaching or Monty. You know, we've got lots of checklists for stuff like that. But doing those small things consistently are what help your business grow and scale to the level that it's going to, right? Social media, you can systemize this as well. And what I mean by that is, you know that on certain days of the week, there's certain type of posts. Again, it saves some of that brain power because we often get paralyzed when we don't just take action on something, right? But if the work's done for us ahead of time, it makes things a lot easier. Oh, I need to post today about, I don't know, the weather, whatever it may be, your categories that you have set. These are things that if you don't have someone helping you with marketing and you need one, we're going to be launching a really awesome program very soon. We'll be announcing it on the March meeting, but essentially it is a marketing assistant that the firm has trained and has ready to go for you. I've talked about this, I think, for a couple of years. Some of you know that, but we finally have it implemented, so we're very excited. So let's talk about some systems that you can easily implement into your business. When I say easily, like they're available to you and they're not expensive, right? So the first one is Lofty, right? I'm not going to dive too deep into Lofty because I know Monty and Dave are talking about them as well. But I want to talk about Asana. Does anyone here use Asana? Couple people, Dave, I know you do, that's awesome. So I want to talk about a few ways that I use Asana in my business. This is a system that is growing and does have some AI, a little bit capability as well that they've talked about releasing, right? But it's important to know the system first before you let AI start doing its thing. But systems-wise, here's how I use Asana. So one of my favorite ways to use Asana is to make sure that all my daily, weekly, and monthly things, anything that I do repeatedly or need to do repeatedly and need to push myself to do it and haven't done it yet, goes into Asana. And here's the reason this is so important. It's not the big stuff that we do in our business. Maybe you got a meeting with a big corporation to list, 30 condos in a certain building. That's a freaking awesome meeting, and that's really exciting. That's a big thing, right? You may not necessarily be doing that every week. But what are the things you can do in your business, daily, weekly, monthly, that you can make sure you're consistently doing? Consistency is key to get you where you want to go. So what are some examples, just shout them out, of daily, weekly, monthly things you guys do in your real estate business?
Follow up with clients.
There you go.
Check
Connect on
subscriptions
social
for new
media.
listings. Sorry.
Yep. Check new listings, social media, run the hot sheet, look at your working clients list, see who needs to be, have a touch point, right? Maybe you check your lofty and see what your tasks are for the day. Everyone's got things that they need to do in their business consistently. And that is anything you do consistently. Used to do newsletters, but who has that now? Who should be you? Newsletters. Oh, we can help you with that. That's a Brooke question. Brooke will connect with Marietta on newsletters. But if there's repeated things that you need to do, who here has a system to remind them to do these regular things that they do? Daily, weekly, monthly. Use a little hand emoji. Just a calendar. A calendar is a system. It is. So here's what I love to do in Asana, and this is how it can be really helpful to you. And the reason I'm such a big proponent of it is because it's free. It does have a paid version as well, but you can max it out and utilize the free version for really everything that you need. My challenge to those of you who don't have a system yet and are willing to try a new one is to go in, download Asana. They have a computer version, they have an app version. Personally, I think that the computer version is easier. We do have a video Asana how-to that we can send out after as well. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget if you are interested in downloading it. So the first thing you want to do is get all of your daily, weekly, monthly tasks into Asana on a recurring reminder. And what it's going to do, what I love about Asana too, is that it's not too much at once. All it gives you is what your tasks are today. And what I love about that is things can get very overwhelming if you look at an entire month or an entire week right in front of you. It can seem so daunting and we're paralyzed and we don't know where to begin, versus just paying attention to what we need to do today. And if all we focus on is by 11 a.m. getting all the stuff done that we need to do today, we are now free and our minds are available for things that come our way. Last minute showing, right? Inspection blowing up, appraisal came in low. We deal with so many things that we are, unfortunately, just in the business that we're in, we're reactive to them. We can try to be as proactive as possible, but we have to react sometimes. So what we need to do is set ourselves up so that we can be as reactive as possible, and be able to handle those things as best we can. But we've got to be proactive in the things that we do consistently. So I challenge you to get a system like Asana and enter your recurring tasks in it. And that video will show you how to get them on a recurring task list. And then today it'll show you all the stuff you need to do. What I love to do is color code them in regards to what kind of task it is, so I can see kind of at a high level what my day is going to look like. And I highly recommend batching tasks too, keeping similar tasks together. So on Mondays, maybe you do all clerical type work. On Tuesdays, maybe you do more, showings and meetings and things like that. You get to set your week up how you want, and if you find it's not working, change it up, right? You might have to change your system 20 times before you finally get to the one that works for you. And then the other way that I use Asana is for templates. If you don't have a system yet for templates on some checklists or things that you do repeatedly, and in this business, you guys, there's a lot of things that we do repeatedly. One of the ways you can use Asana is for those things. Now, Dotloop does have a checklist like template area where you can upload some of them. If you use Dotloop for that, that's a great tool too. Or you can create templates in Asana as projects. And when I do this, I label it template and name it what it is. And I list all of the things that need to be done. And the way I like to organize it, so it's not just one long list of things, is like day 1, day 2, day 3, or like first step, second step, third step, so that I go in order and list all of the things that need to be in that template, right? So for example, a buyer post-closing checklist. What are some things that we do after a buyer closes on a house?
Add the closing date to your CMA, or CRM.
CRM, yep. Oh, there's a newsletter. That's a pretty newsletter. Yeah, that's one thing, right? Make sure that that's put in your CRM. Make sure their address is correct. Maybe you mail them a gift. Maybe you put them on a drip. Maybe you make a phone call to them a week after. All of those things will sometimes happen, but if you have a system, you can make sure they always happen and that it is a system. You guys, if you don't have a system, it's going to look a little bit different every time, which means your customers are going to get a little bit of a different experience every time. It also means you are now the only person who can implement this system in your brain because it's in your brain. Versus if it's documented in the future, when and if you have an assistant or someone helping you in marketing or something of the sort, you easily have something you can give them. And you guys, this is a huge, huge reason why I love using Asana, because I can look at all my tasks for the day, and if I'm struggling in getting some of them done, and maybe I'm thinking about hiring someone to help in a certain area for 10 hours a week, I can easily change the assignee of that recurring task from me to that person, right? Again, that's future thinking, but you've got to be thinking about the future as you're growing and building the business that you want. It becomes very easy. Now, you guys, I even have, let's say I check the hot sheet every day. Now, we might not need a reminder to do that because checking the hot sheet is really fun, but I like to put it in my tasks because it's just another fail-safe that I did it today. Another thing that I love about Asana, both templates and your daily checklist, is within the Asana task, there is a body of it that almost looks like an email, right? Within it, you can put all of your how-tos. Now, I'm a big fan of creating how-tos or playbooks in the Google Drive, right? Keeping a folder in the Google Drive of all of my playbooks, right? And we're going to talk about a system for playbooks too. And then taking that document and linking it in my Asana recurring task. For example, there's something I need to reconcile on the 10th of every month, or whatever the 10th falls on, if it's like a Friday. So maybe I'll pick the second Friday of the month. There's something I need to reconcile. And the spreadsheet for that reconciliation is in the Google Drive. So in my task that says reconcile this thing, I have linked the folder where I keep all of the information for that particular reconciliation. For you guys, it could be, your book, where you do your numbers once a quarter, once a week, once a month, however often you do them. What I have found is by plopping things right in front of you, you're much more likely to do it. Does anyone ever stop doing something simply because it's just not right in front of you? Like the other day, there's a document that I knew I needed to scan in and then upload somewhere. I think I avoided that task for like 5 days because I hadn't uploaded the document to my computer yet. Like, that's so dumb, right? It's not even hard. It's just, I avoided the like extra work versus if it was like right in front of me, I probably would have been more likely to do it. So knowing that we as humans often avoid things that we don't want to do as much as you can to set yourself up for success by in your template, in Asana or whatever system you use, linking whatever you are working on right in there. So every week when it pops up, maybe you put the MLS link for your hot sheet right in the body of that task. So if I'm going through my task today and I see MLS hot sheet, click the link, takes me to MLS, right? Make it easy for yourself. Do yourself a favor and set yourself up for success this way. Because in the future, if you have somebody else doing those tasks even better, all the stuff is right there for you. If every Friday you send out a certain email and you like to do it yourself, right? Or in your post-closing checklist, there's an email you send to your buyer that says, hey, it's your 2-week check-in. I'm checking in. Hope you're doing well. How's the new house? There's a package on the way for you as a thank you. Whatever you say, right? Maybe your Asana task is a day after closing, send your buyer post-closing email. So you go into your email and you send it for 2 weeks after the closing date. Now you can check that task off, that's done, right? These are just things, they're not hard, right? The concepts are simple, but it's not always easy to execute them because they take time. But the more time you invest in the beginning, the better this helps you long term. If you're feeling frazzled or stuck in your business or like there's no way I can do it all, it's a good sign that you need to take a step back and start working on systematizing some of these things because you can't do it all. And if it's all in your brain, it gets really jumbled really, really fast. Another system I use that I want to talk about is ChatGPT. Who here is using ChatGPT? Are we on the ChatGPT train yet? Okay. So we're not even at half, which to me is exciting because it means I hope I get to teach you something new. And I'm not even a ChatGPT expert. I think Monty's gonna really, and Dave, gonna blow you away with some of the stuff that they do. But ChatGPT is so freaking helpful, you guys. I highly recommend you download it. And if you're kind of freaked out by the concept of AI, I definitely can be too. Sometimes it's like, oh my, like Monty was telling me today how he used it, and I literally was like, what is real anymore? How do we know anything we read is real? Like, yes, it's a little bit freaky, but use it for what you can that's helpful to you. So a few different ways that I've used it is a quick contingency, right? Or a written agreement. Now, you guys can have me look this over if you're a little worried about it. But that's just one example, right? You can train your AI. So if you have an account with ChatGPT, you can begin training it. So what I mean by that is take some time to tell it what you do for a living, maybe what your 5-year goals are, maybe what your 1-year goals are, because it will begin to learn about you. I know, creepy, right? But the more it knows about you and what your goals are and what you do, the more it can tailor its responses to you, right? You can ask it to create you a social media marketing plan based on your goals. This is important. I always like to tell it what my goal is, my goal outcome, and not just, hey, make me, a template for how to set up my social media posts weekly if I want to post 3 times a week. Okay, that's kind of vague though. What is my goal? My goal is that I want people who see my posts to think of me as an educated and trusted real estate agent, that whenever they hear the word real estate, they think of me. So it's important. You have to give it the goal outcome that you want. Objection handlers, right? Help me navigate this seller objection. And I want the result to be that they, in the meeting, sign that listing contract and feel confident using my real estate services, right? Give them the goal. That's my best piece of advice when it comes to ChatGPT, is helping it understand why you want this. Bad grammar, connect it to your email. You guys, Gmail has a ChatGPT integration where you can type out an email in your words, and then you can click a button and it will rewrite it in a way that makes it look more eloquent and nice. And literally, no joke, my husband sent an email the other day and I was copied on it. This was like a week ago. And I looked at it and I was like, I think it was signed like Beth Sean. And I was like, no, that's not, like, there's no way I've ever seen this person write best on an email. So I asked him later, I'm like, what's going on with your email? Because that was not the way that you write. And he told me, he's like, I implemented the ChatGPT thing. So it's pretty cool. It will correct your grammar and make sure everything looks a lot more organized. And then Brooke's going to talk about Canva. I want to quick talk about a system called Fathom. We're going to send the links out to all of these as well. Just like I said, I want to give you the high overview of all of them. Fathom is a tool that I love. Is anyone using Fathom? So Marietta asked, do you think people will be turned off by the emails? They'll know it's AI and not you? Well, your close friends and family will probably know that it's AI. But if you're emailing in a professional setting, like a client, they should not know that it's not you. I picked up on it because it was like my husband and I know how he emails. But yes, Monty, the AI companion on Zoom does. So that's pretty cool. I actually learned about that really recently. My favorite one is, it goes, did anybody ask me any questions? Basically, like if you're not paying attention, Zoom will summarize for you like, hey, Morgan, they asked you a question 5 minutes ago. You should probably answer that. So yes, Zoom also has an AI integration too, if you want to check that out. It also will give you a summary of the meeting. So it's kind of like Fathom a little bit. So what Fathom is it's also a Gmail app that gets connected. It records your meeting and it sends you a summary email of what you discussed on the meeting with time. So it's like a literal recap. It's amazing. And it also gives you action items from the meeting. So it'll say, okay, your action items are that you need to do this, this person needs to do this. So it's something that everyone gets afterwards who was on the meeting, and it makes life so much easier. Now my like 2.0 tool to this is take those emails or those summaries that they send you via email afterwards and save them somewhere. One thing that's really important to me that I try hard to make sure I have is a list of notes from every meeting that I have. So for example, I create a Google document and call it, monthly meeting with this person, whatever meeting it is that I have regularly. And then in Word or Google Docs, there's tabs on the left side, and I have a tab for the meeting notes from every single session. That way I can go back and see what our action items were and what we talked about. That's a huge help too. And then I link that link, right, into the meeting invite so that I always make sure that anybody in the meeting has those agenda notes and can go back to them if they want to. So one way that our IT company recently talked to me about all these concepts is, with everything being kind of in the cloud now, is that your laptop should essentially be a paperweight. And what I mean by that is, if someone stole your laptop right now, like let's say it's sitting in your car, well it's not because you're on your computer right now, but if you're sitting in your car and someone took your laptop and threw it in the garbage, stole it, did whatever to it, would it affect your business? And I can honestly say, over the years, I can finally say, no, it would not. I could get a new computer and do everything exactly the same, because all of my meeting notes, all of my systems, all of my tools are on the internet. And what I mean by that is meeting agendas, if they're in Google Docs, I can sign into my Gmail from literally anywhere and get all of my documents, all my spreadsheets, all my notes, all my how-tos, all my kickoff coaching checklists, right? They're all in there. And the nice thing about that too is that by having these live links on everything, if you change something in a Google Doc, it changes for everyone. So no more updating documents or saying, oh, sorry, I gave you the wrong spreadsheet or I gave you the wrong checklist, right? When I share a checklist with people, I often send them the link to it, because then I know that if I change it, anytime they click on it, they have the most recent version always. So that's Fathom. And then I think I had one more, but I might be talking about that after. My last one I want to quick touch on before I hand it over to Brooke with Canva is Tango. And what I love about Tango, if you haven't used that yet, that's also a Gmail application. Tango helps you create how-tos when you're teaching someone how to do something. So if you need to show someone how to, I don't know, go in, every month I have to go into the state of Florida portal and submit certain taxes for bookings that we had, right? So I have a Tango with the website, where to click, where to find the information in the other site to gather the information, where to enter it, how to pay the tax, like all of the buttons that you click on. And Tango follows your cursor and makes screenshots of everywhere you go. So by the end of it, you have a done how-to. It gives you a live link to it, or you can download it as a PDF as well and save it somewhere in the Google Drive. But then I take that Tango and I put the how-to in my Asana task that's recurring, whether it's for me or somebody else, because A, if I do something once a month, the first time I do it, I make a how-to for myself right away, because I will probably forget next month how I did it, and I don't want to struggle doing the same thing over and over again. And B, when I hand this task off to somebody in the future, I make sure that they have that Tango right away. And oftentimes, when I create a new system, you guys, I did this for years in the restaurant industry, recipes, right? When you know that your system is good, when you give it to somebody who has no idea what they're doing and they have no questions. So if you're not sure if you have a good how-to on something or not, give it to someone who doesn't know what they're doing and see if they get stuck. If they don't, your system is good. So those are some of the systems that I use in my business. Does anyone have any questions on those specifically? Asana, ChatGPT, Fathom, Tango. Easy peasy. Okay, we're going to move on to Brooke, who's going to talk about Canva.
Yeah, circling back to ChatGPT, really quick too, for those who are concerned about the tone of its writing, when you do implement when you do start a, not a subscription, but when you get a, what is the word? When you log in, have a login with them, you can enter in some of your writings from the past, and it can actually learn your tone. So you can definitely, when asking it to write something for you, have it do it in your tone as well. But ChatGPT has a Canva integration now, which is pretty exciting. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not, you can't necessarily say, create this, and it's going to create a whole new template for you. It's going to pull from the templates that Canva already has existing. So to do that, you can go up to the Canva section on ChatGPT and have it create an image. Let's say you want to have you help with social media, and you can type your message that you want it to have here. And like I said, it's going to pull from existing Canva templates. So let's say you have an idea of what you want to post, but don't necessarily know where to find it in Canva or what to look for. It's going to pull something from you there. It's going to give you a couple different options. And when you click on the link, it's going to link directly to your Canva, where you can then edit it to be the information that you would need, add your logo, add your information, stuff like that. So that's already linked to ChatGPT, so that's nice. Another way that I use ChatGPT in reference with Canva is that I have it write some of our social media captions. It throws in, emojis, which are always eye-catching. I have said, I'll say what tone I want it written in, who it's geared towards. So a lot of times I'll be geared towards real estate agents, so that it's not just getting a generic, this is, caption there. And then lastly, that Canva overall has a bunch of AI features as well as other apps that they use, which can be found in the app section. So I definitely recommend, if you're a Canva user, to go ahead and take a look at those. It's got so many different options for things you can do. Obviously, AI is still growing, so it's not 100% perfect. There's an option in Canva Pro where you can have it create an image for you. Sometimes you'll get something with 7 fingers, but it does have things that are nice. You can change colors, you can erase things using it. So definitely take a look at all those features when you get a chance. And if you have any questions on something, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help. That's all I had. And now we can go to Monty.
Let me unmute so you can hear me. We have talked about ChatGPT a couple of times, so I'll skip over that one a little bit. It's useful for all of the things that have been mentioned, and more. I I used ChatGPT for quite some time. One of the, I guess maybe a limitation that I ran into is that the free version of ChatGPT is internet disconnected, and so it hasn't had updates, internet updates for some certain amount of time, and so some of the information until they do periodic updates on it can get a little bit dated. It's wonderful for all of the things that were mentioned. One challenge is trying to ask about maybe modern topics or things that I guess things that happened in the last year or so, needing it to be able to reference some of that. So maybe even some of the like NAR changes and things like that. ChatGPT, the free, may not necessarily be aware of some of those changes in full. It may know that they were coming, but it doesn't necessarily know what happened as a result. I I think I threw several different options on here and was looking at some of the different things. I'm actually going to start over on the right, the AI video options. I've been trying to think of some different ways to maybe use video in real estate. And as we were sitting here, I was playing with an idea. So I'll come back some other time and let you know how it works out. But I'm going to talk to you in just a minute about something fun I've been doing with blog generation. And one of the things I was actually thinking about doing is utilizing InVideo or another video AI producer to use my blogs as narration for video creation, so that I have just maybe another creative outlet for showing some of these things, moving them onto social media and things like that. Just another visual format for that. So I'm going to play with that a little bit, but I will I'll definitely be happy to reach back out and let everyone know how that goes, or if it's a tremendous failure. I'm happy to waste my time so you don't have to waste yours. AI for image and logo generation. Most of these can do, most of the ones that we have listed on here and that have been discussed do image generation in some form or fashion. Sometimes I find myself working on some specific topic or helping with logo development and things like that. And one of them that I've just fallen in love with is Deep AI. I love going on there. It has a logo generator on it. And so if you're thinking of playing with your logo a little bit, making some minor modifications to it, or just want to see what it would look like in other settings, or if you're helping another agent, I've even a couple of times done some for clients. I've tried to do some more specific branding for their property and wanted some fun logos to throw on that were more representative of their property. And I've gone on and just played with different scripts on there, sometimes using some of their property descriptions, other options to develop those. So the script development I had kind of written down. Script development is, I think, one of the more important things that you can work on individually, and that I work on individually for AI, using AI efficiently. If I know what to ask AI to do, and I know how to ask it to do it, and I know what the outcomes are that I want, then I can write that and organize that in a script that's going to be understandable, then I'm going to get a lot more quality from AI. It's like Morgan was mentioning earlier. If I just go on and be like, hey, give me a 5-year plan, it's going to give me a 5-year plan. But if I give my goals, my budget, all of those different aspects, I did a marketing budget. I was playing around with different marketing pieces, and I asked, actually it was ChatGPT. I said, I'm doing this amount of money for the next year, and I want to maximize my lead generation in my real estate company. And here's all this information about me. Help me develop a budget for the next year, how to spend my money, when and where to spend my money to be the most efficient and generate the most leads. And so ChatGPT spits that out for me, and then I can go back and tweak. But it saves me six to 8 hours of having to write each of those pieces out myself. Now I have a really basic outline of what my marketing should look like, what different avenues I have to utilize, and some ideas that I wasn't even considering on my own. So a lot of times it has the access that it has to other systems is a lot of fun. I put on that LeChat on there. That's the Mistral AI. That's actually a new one, and I don't know a ton about it yet. It's the big new European model that they're really excited about. I think the back end is kind of designed and built on ChatGPT, but it's a little bit more updated. It does have a little bit more internet connectivity, and is going to be able to give you a little bit more updated outputs than just a free version of ChatGPT. So it might be worth checking out. I'll end on Grok on X, and just give you an idea of one of the ways I've been using AI here recently, as I've been working on my new website on Lofty. Lofty, you may or may not know if you're developing your own website on there, has the ability to do AI generated blogs for you. And on the blog system, what it can do, you have to put a title in, and then you put some bulleted points of what you want the blog to be about. And Lofty does an excellent job of providing these layout, these really kind of technical basic blog for you that can go directly onto your website. You can publish it directly onto your website. It's a really, really fun, cool tool on there. Sometimes the challenge can be, what do I want to write my blog about? What are some of the bullet points that I want to cover? So what I decided to do a couple of days ago, after talking to Morgan about this, I was like, I'm going to see how this works out. So what I did is I got on Grok and I said, hey, Grok, I'm writing a real estate blog. Here's a little bit about what I'm doing. I want to write 20 blog posts. I want them to be creative, fun topics. I want them to be relevant to the world of real estate, but I also want them to be something. I don't want them to have just the ordinary how to buy a house. I want them to be fun, adventurous, funny. Give me fun titles. And then for each of them, I want you to give me such and such number of bullet points for what the blog's supposed to look like. So Grok creates for me 20 different blog titles and bullet points for how to break those down. I take that, I go over to Lofty, and I plug in the title, and then I plug in the bullet points into Lofty, and I had Lofty write the blog for me. But I started reading through it, and I was like, okay, it's a nice blog. It has a lot of great information, but does it really say it in the way that's kind of adventurous and it's going to kind of be attention grabbing and not just every other blog that's out there? So what I did was I took the title and the blog itself. I went back to Grok and I said, hey, Grok, here's a blog post that I wrote. Can you make the tone and the style and the humor of the post match the title? So I plug that back in. Grok spits out some other options for me. I tweak those a little bit, and then I take that and I upload it back onto my blog on Lofty. And then I was sitting there thinking, oh wow, it'd be fun if I had some interesting photos that I could use. So then I take the blog and I put it on AI and I say, hey, here's a blog that I wrote. can you read the blog and then generate some images that are representative, that could be seen as representative of this blog, so I can use them for advertising purposes and marketing. And so then it spits out images. I get all these image choices that I can use that are interesting, unique, and that are all encompassing of what what the blog looks like. So I'm once I played with my scripts for a little while on the first one to really get the different systems to generate what I wanted them to. I think my first one probably took me about 30 minutes of tweaking and playing with the scripts. And then after that, I just plugged everything in time after time. And I don't think any of the other ones that I've written, I think I'm four or five in that I've published right now. And I don't think any of the others that I've done have taken me maybe more than 10 minutes in total to write, tweak, change the language, and then get back to the images. So there's a ton of ways. And I think one of the interesting things, fun things with the different AI systems is that they do all have slightly different bias. They also have slightly different areas where they excel. And as far as language learning versus technical versus creative. And so playing around with them, spending a little bit of time understanding which AI system is going to work best for you, for each specific need. There may not, and I haven't really found one that it's my go-to for everything. I do like to use them in combination with one another, because you start to get all of the best parts of each of them. And then I still get to put my human touch on it before it goes someplace else. So that's been a lot of fun. Encourage you, go to homespystallings.com and jump on my blogs, jump on the blogs there, and just kind of check them out. May not be your taste, but I'm going for something just a little bit different, a little bit different look at real estate. So any questions on that or anything? Anybody want me to send any scripts or anything like that I've been using?
Which one did you end up using to create images?
I think where I ended up back on, I ended up back on Grok. I tried a couple of different ones. I went back to Grok because whenever I generated those images that I used for my blog, I generated on Grok because it actually ended up giving me, Grok gives me four options per generation. So one of them, it interprets it several different ways, and so it's pretty robust as far as that type of image generation goes. Deep AI actually has an image generator too. I really, really like the images that Deep AI generates. I love the logos, but the interface is a little bit more clunky. It's not as much conversational as it is. I have to be very, very specific in what I ask for. It doesn't do a lot of what we'd call free thinking. So it stays very much within the specific confines of exactly what I've told it to do. And if I didn't tell it to make the third line yellow, it's not going to make the third line yellow. So it doesn't give quite that interpretive creativity that I was looking for that project, but it's wonderful whenever I'm trying to do something really directed where I want it to say something specific and give a specific feel.
Do you pay for any of them?
Not a single one. I am so cheap. I don't pay for it. For like 1 month, I paid for Chat GPT, and I realized that I was actually getting very similar options from a lot of other free stuff out there. So I think the free version of Chat GPT and the paid versions are super helpful. I've just found that I can jump around to a couple different sites and find free options just as easy, a lot easier than I can part with my money. for for a monthly subscription.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right,
Excited
Dave,
to
you
share
want to
what
talk
Dave
about?
has to say.
We've lost Dave. He's probably taking his cookies out of the oven
No.
right
I'm here. I couldn't find the stupid unmute button.
now.
Oh, look at that. I got a blank screen. I mean, I can talk about anything I want.
Anything you want.
Okay. One thing I want pretty much everybody to remember, that when you're using ChatGPT, put it in your head that you're talking to a live person, a person that is the smartest person in the world, that can answer any question you want. And not only that, but put together, pretty much anything you want, but they're always keeping track of the conversation previous. So anytime you want to change something, like Monty said, like change the tone. I like sarcastic, sassy, and that one comes out pretty kind of cool. So you can change that tone, but just keep that in mind, that you're talking to like the smartest person in the world, and they can pretty much do anything you want. I'll talk a little bit about the Lofty AI and a little bit about how it captures leads as they come in. It's like a little game. You get a little ding on your phone saying, here's someone that you can claim, and boy, oh boy, you better be the quickest one to claim them, because people claim them instantly. When you do claim that person, what happens is it will pop up depending on what Google and what its system has, how they've been tracking that person and what they've been looking at, and did they just look at a house, or are they looking at information on selling their house? Did they leave an email or a phone number? It will tell you, hey, this person, blah, 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 would you like to send them an email or generate an email? So you hit generate, and it makes the email pertinent to what that person was doing a couple of seconds prior to you sending this email or text. So it'll do that all for you. The great thing about that is once you do that, it'll also do now what Asana does. And it will basically tell you what your next step will be, and it'll create steps along the way to keep in touch with that person. So when you check back, it'll tell you, here's what you need to do today with this person. Do you want me to generate a text to send to them? It'll generate it, and you hit send, and off it goes. So you're not really doing much thinking except following through with letting it do what it wants to do. I'm still working on that stuff. There's a lot to it, The other one I'm using is, and I'm still learning this one. I'm trying to learn this one because virtual staging for vacant homes can get kind of expensive. And there are some cool apps and some cool sites that you can drop your photos in, and you can arrange them yourself. You can go through a house and take all the video you want, drop it all in, and it will cut and add music, all kinds of great stuff, and make really great walkthrough videos as well. But I'm still working on that stuff too. I'm learning some of that stuff for video production. One of the other things I used it for, and I'm having a little harder time using it on Lofty, but when we had the website on, what was the last one, Morgan? What was our website on the last one?
KV Core.
KV Core, yeah. So with KV Core, KV Core had like a back door, a secret back door. And so you can use ChatGPT to create code. I didn't like that I couldn't put something on my website. So I found the back door, went onto ChatGPT and said, I'm using this website host. how do I create code? And then I tell it what I want it to do. It generated the code, I copied it, pasted it into the website, and bam, I get a button that goes directly to my favorite lender and their application process, or however you want to use it. Now I'm kind of working with some of those links also, so that when I do the blog posts, I will tell the ChatGPT while I'm building the blog post to, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be, okay, how about today I'm baking cookies? It'll put in a link right there, like a button that says, make the recipe Dave's making right now. And you can click it and it'll take you right to it, right from your blog post. Now that button could go anywhere that you want it to. And the blogs, the more blogs you do, the higher up in the Google search and the other search engine optimization lists you get. Those websites love blog posts because it keeps you current, and they like that. Gosh, I don't know what else. I'm kind of learning a lot of that stuff. Buttons, links, let's see, what else did I think that was about it. That's kind of how I'm using it. I'm still learning and trying to find some different unique things that maybe not so many people are using just yet. So, questions?
All right. Well, it's good timing anyway, because we are 3 minutes from 2 o'clock. We managed to share, I think, like 10 different systems with you in a matter of an hour. So, whew. We will send the link to every one of these systems after the fact and then dive into them. Feel free to reach out to Monty, Dave, me with specifics on the ones that we taught, because we're using these and actively, getting into them. You guys, this is changing constantly. There's so much information, and I hope that this session at least consolidated some of it and gave you kind of direct ideas on how you can implement some of these tools into your business. Even if one of them speaks to you and you're like, this is really going to help me here, then I'd say we did our job. So hopefully this was helpful. We'll keep sharing more and more systems, but this is the relevant hot topic right now. So we want to make sure to keep you informed and help you figure out how to keep your business pushing forward, scaling, and getting where you guys want it to go. So any other last minute questions before we head out? Awesome. Okay, well, I did want to give another quick shout out to our marketing person. So we do actively have a marketing coordinator who has begun at Abundance. We've got some people testing the program out for the next month or so, and we'll be officially launching it end of March, early April. So more info to come on that in March, but just know if you've been thinking about hiring a marketing assistant to help with your campaigns, maybe some email funnels, newsletter design, CRM management, making sure your Lofty is organized how you want it to, your website, social media posting, there is a solution for that coming very soon. So stay tuned. Bye, everybody.